Hello there, this is part C of research practice, MPSC 260. This is Sam Mortley, and I have decided to do an 8 to 10 minute video to conclude my findings of the literature review in part A, and also my empirical research and other sources in part B that back up or contrast with what I found in part A. And I will conclude about what I think, what I could have done if I had more time and had more contacts availability, and yeah, what went well and what I expected, and did the results meet my expectations, stuff like that. So I've written it all down in my notebook. That's all my handwriting there. So I'm going to read from this. So, in conclusion, I think weighing up the evidence combined with my own empirical research, I have discovered that professional commercial studios are still relevant despite the rise of the home studio producers. I feel that producers/engineers benefit more from working in a professional studio more than an artist/musician does. Professional studios are vital for providing careers for budding producers and engineers, as mentoring from the most experienced technical minds on a face-to-face daily basis is critical to development, as Bill Seller, being the understudy of Simon Hayworth at Super Audio Mastering, explained in that quote I put in part B. I also made a YouTube video about it where that quote is also said. And also Peter Gabriel's young team of university graduates who came through musical colleges and universities, the way they were at Real World Studios, which is what Peter Gabriel owns, the way they were using plugins, and they were trusted by Peter Gabriel to come in and work on major projects that they are still continuing. Nile Rodgers, for example, was in Real World Studios last year in 2023. They're still very operating at the highest level. And yeah, Peter Gabriel is willing to give young graduates, like myself. Well, I'm not a graduate yet, but young people like me who's been through the music production study, giving them a chance, which is in stark contrast to something like the Sawmills, which I visited earlier this year, which was very, keeping things to tradition. The desk, the Trident 80B series desk was still there from 1986 when it was installed. You still had John Cornfield there, who has been an engineer there since the 1970s. There was no no one understudying under that person on the session that I turned up at anyway, from my personal experience. It's very keeping with the stone walls in the live room, whereas Real World, you got the the paddles, and in the control room you've got the acoustic roof and the special glass made composited out of material that will benefit the playback through the monitors as the engineers are listening. But yes, my experience of remote networking which I undertook in 2022 with Mark Gardner from Ride. I sent some recordings and mixes of my own that I did on my own time to Mark Gardner from Ride, the musician. He has set up his own studio in Oxfordshire called OX4 Sound, and I sent the mixes and recordings to him to master. And it displayed the downside for me of not having that face-to-face support that Alan Moulder emphasized in the Sound on Sound article, which I referenced in part B, and what Real World demonstrated. Because the thing that surprised me the most was that it displayed the downside of not having face-to-face support because it was not spontaneous reaction to or precise information that I was getting, like through every step of the way. It was kind of, I sent the work off, and then it was I was blind for 2 weeks as to what was being done with my work, and then I got an email back saying this needs to be done to the mixes. So it was not spontaneous where I was able to act and change things according to what Mark Gardner was hearing. It was very much like I had to wait a long time, and then I got like one email back. So then I had to try and decipher what he was telling me, and without the education there and the guidance through every step, it was not really beneficial. And I sent the mixes back with a few tweaks, and it still didn't really get the sound I wanted. So through personal experience, that remote networking did not work for me. The thing that surprised me the most about this project was that each pro studio is different. Like I said, Shearwater has the bundle package where you can record your music. I went there with my band Breather. You can record, and they do a video bundle, music video bundle, and do photography for band PR from promotion, and they do live sessions in there as well if you want to opt for that. And then that was different to how the Sawmills operated, which was a very 20th century heritage-based kind of resting on its laurels, with lots of 80s and 90s bands being, there was a big wall and that of the bands that recorded there, and it was like hardly anybody was post 2000s, so it was a very legacy-based place. Whereas I think that Shearwater was looking forward, and so was Real World with its team of understudies. And Shearwater has its multiple service bundle. Sawmills stay traditional, and Real World looks forward. The gov.uk studio music market assessments proved that how many studios are still open, and that surprised me that so many are, with the figure coming in at over 2,482 studios, with 1,858 of them being still open and operating. 78% of these offering recording services. Crucially, 57.1% of surveyed home studio users also use pro commercial studios in tandem, and that Alex Hart article from part B that proved that correctly. I do think about the two, so Rumsey and Kling, the two literature reviews I decided to review. The two pieces of literature I decided to review, Rumsey's journal article I found was very objective because it is a report on a panel comprised of different industry professionals. So that was a very fair argument for and against the professional studio. So that looked at both sides. Whereas in contrast, I think Christopher Kling's journal is very personal and contains hints of emotion that is individualistic. And that was, very much in the bias of the engineers and producers and the pro studio as opposed to home studios. He's very much against home production. I think Kling is very much on the side of producer engineer. I thought that, he blamed the lack of musical ability for a bad top 40, but he didn't consider record labels and A&R men have declined with the advent of digital music distribution. He did not consider those options. So one thing I would do differently is to get a survey from more modern times, 2024, So that's it. Thank you.